Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Sunday, June 9th, 2019. As always, we'll start off with a review of yesterday's games and then get to today's. We got baseball in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals, Blues in a potential closeout game. So yesterday, and the day before, I was thinking the Rays could win 3 in a row against Boston. They came 1 game shy. They did win the first game of the doubleheader. We saw how Price did have that narrative to get that. There was a 43 on the board for him yesterday, so we'll look at that in the second game. The Athletics and Rangers doubleheader. One caller yesterday really liked the Rangers in the first game. He was right on about that. I thought this doubleheader was a mixed bag yesterday. Rangers ended up taking 2, and that made the A's 5-3 against the Rangers on the season on a 53 date. And had either team won both of these games yesterday in the doubleheader, they would have had the 5-3 thing going as well. But it did happen in the Rangers-A's series. The White Sox looked pretty good to win yesterday, staying on 33, plus they had a few other riddles going. Royals became 12-21. We like the Diamondbacks to get it done yesterday. They did get it done. Phillies had the better narrative over the Reds. We talked about the 22-11 in the 33rd game. There was something else there with the pitchers. So, talked about the Orioles splitting with the Astros, and this was the day they would more likely win. They got it done against the Astros. That was a great payout game. Pointed out the Tigers did have a shot to upset the Twins yesterday. I thought they might be worth a risk. There was a possibility the Twins could sweep the series. There was also a pitcher that they inserted at that last moment. He could do the 4-4 thing, but have to look again at the Tigers today. Are they going to stay on 37 losses in Detroit for the series, or will they pick up their 38th? Minnesota's 38 in the most Pierce cipher. So Tigers are one of those risk-reward picks yesterday. We saw that if the Indians won a whole lot of 33 stacked, it was a 33 show, and the 33 did come through. CC on the mound for the Yankees, who used to pitch for the Indians. CC, the 33rd letter. Pirates had a shot to win yesterday. They had a narrative, but they could also pick up that 33rd loss on the 33 date. Now today they can pick up the 34th loss on the 34 date. So Pirates were a risk-reward pick. They didn't come through. I thought the Braves had the better narrative yesterday over the Marlins. I know at least one person liked the Marlins, but that Braves pitcher riddle was good to beat the Marlins. Thought that was the best thing going on the board yesterday. And the Red Sox spoiled the Rays doing those 3 in a row. They got 2 in a row and came up 1 shy. David Price. Where's my notes yesterday? What did Price have going? There was one thing I spotted for Price going against his old team. Oh, yeah, he was going for his 43rd win with Boston, and Tampa Bay Rays is 43. So I got to assume that's why that riddle got broken. Sometimes the pitcher riddles trump the other riddles. Not as the norm, but it does happen. The Mets and the Rockies, this game was kind of a crapshoot to me yesterday. We talked about how it could go either way. What's funny about today's game, yesterday one thing we saw was that the Rockies could stay on 33 wins and the Mets on 33 losses on the 33 date. What's funny about today is number 34 is pitching for both teams. You got 34s for both teams, and today has 34-date numerology, so we'll get to that game. The Giants, they had a narrative yesterday. It was also possible they could stay on 26 wins on the 26th date, but I'm thinking Bumgarner can get it done today, so we'll get to that. Bumgarner's going for that 114th career win. San Francisco Giants 114. Dodgers were in the 114th World Series. Giants win, they'll get that 27th win on the 27 date. Cardinals and Cubs was an iffy game to me yesterday. Caller who liked the Rangers in the early game, he liked the Cubs as well. So he was right about his 2 picks. Those were his 2 games he liked. Again, Rangers made the A's 5-3 versus the Rangers by winning both games in the doubleheader yesterday. 53-date numerology. That was one of a few scenarios we looked at. Nationals, I was favoring the Nationals yesterday. Scherzer, he had it was the perfect opponent for him to get his 163rd win against us, the 38th prime, San Diego's 38. And we saw that the first two games, the Nationals lost 4-5, 4-5, and Scherzer was trying to become 4-5 on the season, Major League 45. And no surprise that the Mariners went down to the Angels. We talked about how if they lost, they'd come into today a date with 27 numerology on 27 wins. They're on those 41 losses right now, big LA numbers, so we'll look more at that game. But here we are. It's June 9th. It's Sunday. And let's get into today's games because a lot of them start in about 1 hour. And also for the fight yesterday, Triple G won. No surprise there. We pegged that one over a month ago, and then we just did a quick review yesterday why he should be good to go. If you stayed with the live stream yesterday, we noticed how the jockey Rosario had the most interesting day leading up to the race. 2 huge clues, and he was the guy on Sir Winston. We also had a woman call in who had a great observation about Queen Elizabeth and Donald Trump and how she gave him a gift from Winston Churchill. So, you know, there were some big signs right before the race was starting. We were saying, oh, man, this jockey could make a lot of sense with first place or second place. So this Sir Winston's looking like a horse to place here. And sure enough, he ended up taking the race. So I know in the future in the major races, I'm going to have to do that. When we do these Triple Crown races in the future, I'm going to have to sit on that website and just track the races all day because we need to get the most accurate jockey win information going right up into the lead race. Tacitus, we were thinking he looked good for second, and he finished right there. And that one horse that everybody wrote off, they said the long shot horse, I was saying, man, all the experts were saying this horse doesn't have a shot, but man, does he have numbers. And he ended up finishing in third. Tax had a great riddle for third place, and he finished one spot shy in fourth. He would have been a perfect fit in third. But yeah, we got to follow those jockey riddles all day because it really does seem to be, you know, maybe about the jockey more than anything else. And if you missed yesterday's live stream, you can skip towards the end and just see what we did it throughout the day. But that winning jockey, he had the ultimate tributes earlier in the day. Big signs. He won the first race of the day. First place in the first race, 1-1 like 11. The main event was the 11th race. New York's the 11th state. In the 6th race, he got a giant 666 tribute, New York 666. And that set up his stats that would make a lot of sense for first or second place in the race as a jockey. And he ended up taking first. So anyway, Rays and Red Sox today. The date numerology is 54, 27, 34. If you just add the day plus the month, it's 15. Because it's the 9th, I'd look out for the 23s today. 23 is the 9th prime. And in this game, the Rays could potentially pick up their 23rd away win, and the Red Sox could stay on 34 wins. And notice Tampa Bay's a slight favorite in this game. I wish they weren't, but they are. I've been tracking the pitcher records, but what I hadn't been doing until just this week, just to look at even more information, and sometimes looking at more information makes things cloudier. But I just noticed that today's going to be Snell's 13th start of the season, and he could pick up his 6th loss, 13, the 6th prime. So far in tracking this, I haven't seen a great correlation with the prime numbers and the pitcher records. So I just want to make that note. But just one more thing I'm observing. So I don't have a lot of data to work with, but so far doesn't seem to be a great indicator. Let's see. Rodriguez, he has 38 career wins. Florida's 38. Tampa Bay's a Florida team. Sometimes I think the state gematria matters. The Red Sox next home loss versus Tampa Bay will be 74. Tampa Bay Rays is 74. These teams are 4-4 against each other this year, so either team could become 5-4 on this 54 date. Rays does equal 45. From the Red Sox perspective, if they lost, they could be 4-5 versus the Rays. Let's see. The other thing that stood out to me is Tampa Bay equals 47, which is the 15th prime number. If the Red Sox went down, they'd be 15-15 at home. The day plus the month, 6 + 9, 15. So I think the Rays have a little bit better narrative here. Can't say that I'm thrilled about this game, but just because, and the reason I'm not thrilled is just because this 5 and 4 could go either way. Just takes one riddle sometimes to bust it up, but it does seem that more things line up for the Rays. The 23rd away win on the 9th, the Red Sox staying at 34 on the 34 date, 15 and 15 versus Tampa Bay. So I lean towards the Rays in that game. The Reds and the Phillies. The Phillies can stay on 27 losses on the 27 date. Remember, they picked up their 27th loss with Nola on the mound, number 27, and they've been on a little winning streak since that. Today, Nola can keep them at 27 losses if his team wins. Gray's number 54 going for the Reds on the 54 date. He's at 61 wins. Philadelphia is 61. He could stay on 61 versus Philadelphia. What else is interesting is he's 2 and 5 for the season. If he lost, he'd be 2 and 6. Reds is 26. Philadelphia is also 101, the 26th prime. Nola, the one thing that could go against him is he's 6 and 1 for the season, like Philadelphia is 61. If he lost, he'd be 6 and 2, and Reds is 62. So there is that one concern for Nola. The Phillies are one of the teams that can pick up a 23 today on the 9th. They can get their 23rd home win on the 9th. One other thing I should put up here, it is the Phillies' 65th game of the season. Philadelphia is also 65. One other thing I should put up is Phillies could pick up 28th loss, and Reds does equal 19 and 28. But I'm thinking the Phillies got the better narrative too here. I like the 23-9 prime number relationship. So I'm thinking the 23s are going to play today, and I'm leaning that way with my picks. And I also kind of like Nola defending the 27 losses, meaning they don't pick up another one just since they picked up number 27 with him on this 27 date. So the initial thought at the beginning of the series was the Diamondbacks had a good shot to sweep here. I'm going to stick with that thought, but I will warn. If you've already won twice on the Diamondbacks, maybe just pack it in, because we do see a lot of riddles get broken up in the last game for whatever reason. So if the Blue Jays won today, it would break up that initial thought. And there's been a whole lot of series this year where I've gotten the first 2 games right and the third game wrong. So I just want to put that out there. Those of you who've been following all season know that that's true. But then again, there's been ones where we've seen the series right from the beginning to the end. And this very well could be one of those. Let me take this call right here. Caller?
Hey, so it looks like yesterday was a good day. Out of the 8 games that I called in about, the only one that missed was that second Rays game.
Yeah. Yesterday was a good day. I mean, the picks mostly came through yesterday. So, yeah, good job.
Yeah, I hit multiple 6-teamers yesterday.
Awesome, man.
So $5 turns into $400 very easily when essentially what we have to do is just go back. Always say the 4 base ciphers. Day numerology kind of factors a lot. But now what I'm noticing is the jersey numbers is a huge component. Last night during that Cubs game, by the way, that Lester ritual played out perfectly. He got the win 5-4. But the most amazing thing was that the game changed in terms of the lead with number 53 pitching for the Cardinals.
There you go, on the 53 day. About the jersey thing, the only jersey game that didn't come through yesterday was the Pirates, because they had a number 31 going and could have picked up their 31st win. But yeah, the jersey number seems to be a big indicator.
But see, here's the thing, though. With that Pirates game, if you're, like, filtering down the list of games, you already have, like, 8 other games that are better in terms of consideration than that game when you finally get to do that one. And so it's one of those ones you can just kind of, like, toss aside and just observe.
Well, it would have been a nice payout, though. So there was some risk-reward there.
Yeah, but I think that Orioles game was a little bit better. But the thing was that I didn't notice till after. Well, I think they hadn't won there or something like that since like 2015 or something like that. So there was quite a while. But today, what's interesting, I think the Astros can potentially fall or go to like 9-1-1 in their last 11 series. So there's a 9-1-1 ritual.
Oh, saying they would have tied one of the series, like gone 2-2.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so I think the Orioles then potentially win today.
I think they have a shot today too.
And the same thing with the Athletics, because I think it's Montas pitching today again, and with him, it seems to line up. I'm trying to find my notes.
The one thing I worry about with the A's today is they can get that 34th loss, but that Montas, he's been good for us this year. A lot of games where he's had a good read, he's come through. So
he's 811 days from 2017 birthday. 343 is 777. The A's go to 33 and 33 with number 33. Connects directly to the 89 series. The 33 was crossing plate when feed cut out. 1551 is Oakland 2. Smiley could drop to 1-5. 32 is like 55. Montas is 26 years, 80 days. F Montas equals 88. That kind of fits the whole 2 + 6 = 8, and then the 80 thing for the 80 days. Drew Smiley's on 32-31. He could fall to 32-32 as they stay on 32. Smiley has a 45 reflection, 54 dating knowledge.
The one thing that worries me about the A's today is if they lose, they're 5-4 against the Rangers for the year. On the 54 days.
It's one of those tough ones. I mean, today it's not nearly as good as yesterday in terms of the reads. I think out of all the games today, the best one is not in baseball. It's the Netherlands hoisting the cup.
Oh, it's what'd you say? Soccer?
Yeah, it's the UEFA Nations Cup or something like that. It's called, and it's got Portugal versus Netherlands, and Netherlands should win. It's Ronaldo versus Van Dijk, or however you say his name, DJIK, I think it is. So today, though, what's interesting is that a lot of people have actually kind of caught this. The propaganda kind of being put out whenever there's a team that the casinos or whatever don't want people to bet on, they just act like they don't exist. And Netherlands is basically having that same sort of situation happen, where everyone is, again, pushed heavily on, at least today, England and Netherlands, because England's playing Switzerland in the third place game. And it just seems to be like kind of a good sign for it. There's a lot of other things kind of lining up for it, but it's one of those ones where, I mean, I didn't do the Decode necessarily myself. It's just one of these ones the community has kind of brought together with, but that one seemed to be the best.
Okay. Well,
if you want to look into it a little bit more, that might be something that will be good. It starts later, so I would do that after these morning games.
Okay. Yeah, we can look at that once we get through baseball and hockey here. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but I just wanted to kind of chime in because the joke yesterday with going that 7-1 was like, maybe today you can take the day off, but it's probably better that you kind of keep going.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna go every day. So yeah, yesterday was.
I think what it was is that a lot of people have like kind of got demoralized over baseball. But baseball is...
Well, nobody should be demoralized. I mean, we had 3 great weeks. I mean, we won at a really high percentage for 3 straight weeks. The last week has been mediocre, but, that's the way it is. So
yeah, but the way I look at it is that it's just because there are now these jersey number stuff that we haven't really tied in as much. And we always look at starting pitchers, but if we look at the reliever records as well, that also seems to help, because the guy who led on those 2 base runners last night, I think it was that he could go to like 2-6 career or something like that in that Cubs game, and then he ended up the guy who was there, he lost the game and he went to 1-3 in the year, and so it just there's a component there that we're not considering. Currently.
Well, you don't know who's going to come in to relieve. I mean, the closers are there.
You do know some, because they're not going to use the same relievers every single day. if they have some guy go 2 innings and he's like a short reliever, he's not going to go the next day.
Sure. But I mean, in terms of that, it's best if you're watching the game and just have the knowledge and just things you can pick up on when the guy comes in with his jersey and whatever record they put up on the screen. But to speculate on that before the game is just too much speculation. So,
yeah, but either way, the one thing that I have noticed, and this seems to be the most consistent, they love putting 47 and 666 all over the games.
sure.
Like 666 rituals where they can get a 333 and then a 2 or something similar to that. They love doing it.
Sure.
And it doesn't always come up in the final box score. Mid game is when they start sticking these things in there.
Sure.
Because they script it pitch by pitch.
I agree about that.
So I mean, I'll probably like listen in. Then if I hear something, I'll kind of chime in a little later. But
all right, sounds good, man.
Today seems kind of good.
All right, thanks, dude.
Thanks.
Okay, so anyway, Diamondbacks to go for the sweep. That's what we've been talking about since the series began. Blue Jays can get to the 42nd loss. Arizona 42, Diamondbacks 42. They'd stay on 23 wins. Sweeps 23. Blue Jays is 23. If the Diamondbacks do win today, they will pick up their 34th win on the 34 date. Caller?
What's up, Zach? I know you're doing a decode. I got a quick point, though. Rapper Bushwick Bill's been reported dead, but his publicist said he's still fighting for his life. The point in that is Bushwick Bill's rap with a group called the Ghetto Boys with Scarface, and they were signed with Jay Prince. And Jay Prince is the same guy who discovered Drake, so there could be a Drake riddle again there.
I'll go back and look at that. There was some story this year earlier about Bushwick, New York, and it was synced up with the rapper Bushwick Bill. So, all right, I'll look at that. I appreciate it.
Yep, definitely. All right.
All right, thanks, man. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to stick with the initial thought, but just the warning is sometimes these riddles get broken up in the last game, but there's reason to believe in it here for the Diamondbacks. So Ray's got a better narrative today, in my opinion. Philly's got a better narrative. Both teams can get that 23rd win on the 9th. Diamondbacks to go for the sweep. The Rockies and the Mets, both teams have pitcher number 34 going. And today has 34 date numerology, and both teams can pick up a 34. Rockies can get the 34th win. Mets can get the 34th loss. Syndergaard comes in with a 3-4 record. The Mets are a big favorite today because Hoffman's on the mound and he's not pitching well. The only thing that I could see going sideways here is both teams staying, or the Rockies staying on 33 wins and the Mets staying on 33 losses because New York is 33. But man, both pitchers number 34 on the 34 date. It's possible that Syndergaard doesn't get the loss because I noticed today will be his 100th career start. His next will be his 101st, which is the 26th prime. So I'm wondering if you could stay on those 26 career losses going into the next. But then again, today has the 27 date numerology, which we talked about yesterday. So Syndergaard could get 27th loss today. Let's see. So yeah, it's just the New York 33 piece that gives me concern, but the Rockies are definitely the better payout today, and with both the 34s on the mound, I mean that could be the sign that it's going 34-34 there. So on the 34 date. Okay, Twins and Tigers. Let's see here. The Tigers' next loss is their 38th. Minnesota's 38. The game's in Detroit. Detroit is 37, but picking up the 38th loss against Minnesota would make some sense. If the Twins got beat today by the Tigers, they would stay on 23 wins on the 9th, 23 the 9th prime. Carpenter, if he could get the win today, he would be 2-2. Twins is 22. Twins are a monster favorite on the road today. Carpenter could also become 3-4 for his career on this 34 date if he got the win. The Twins are 5-3 versus the Tigers this year. That happened yesterday on the 53 date. That was part of the reason the Tigers had a narrative yesterday. If the Twins lost today, they'd be 5-4 on the 54 date. And again, the Tigers are on 487 home losses versus the Twins, which is the 93rd prime. Minneapolis, Minnesota, 93. Minneapolis on the 93rd meridian. So, I mean, eventually they're going to come off that, but I don't know if there's some symbolism in it for the rest of the series. So, yesterday's game on the Tigers, I mean, there were narratives going both ways, but the Tigers were the risk-reward pick. If you went on that Tigers game yesterday, could be worth a stab again today. So, let me actually see something real quick. Twins play the Mariners next. So the Twins' next win is 43, and Mariners is 43. Again, it's their 43rd season. So the question becomes, do they go in with 43 wins, or do they pick up that or do they pick up that 43rd win against the Mariners? Twins' next win is 43. Next opponent is Mariners. Mariners 43. So I think the Tigers got a shot today. The pitcher record would be perfect. The Twins fall into 5-4 on the 54 date. I do worry about them getting that 38th loss against Minnesota. That's the one piece that's there, but staying at 37 in Detroit for the series could also be. Caller?
I think the Tigers.
What's up, Zach? How are you?
Hey, man.
Good. So good call yesterday. I sent you a text on that Mets game. After digging deep there, I stayed away from it. Made sense to you. Made a lot of sense.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just thought, the 35 thing, but that 32 was strong. But anyway, so with this Twins-Tigers game, Odorizzi, the pitcher for the Twins, is riding a 9-game winning streak, and they won Odorizzi from the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, I said ooh, not who. Yeah, like ooh, okay.
My bad.
I see.
He's they also won their last game against the Rays when he pitched 9-7.
Okay.
And also, I think that this Carpenter guy, he was a big underdog when he pitched last time against Snell, and he won.
Okay.
So this could be a good one here.
Okay, so yeah, so Odorizzi, then his streak of 9 could end on the 23rd, 23, the 9th prime. Okay.
And I found it coincidental they won with 9 runs last time against Tampa Bay, who Carpenter, I believe, just pitched against and won against Blake Snell.
Okay, yeah, so there could be some triangular relationship here. The only thing that I can see that could go for Odorizzi today is he could also get his 9th win on the 23rd of the season. But I'm still thinking the Tigers are worth a shot just because they're a nice payout and they got a decent riddle on the board. So
Yeah, I totally on board with that. And you said you like the Rockies today. You're leaning, not strong, but leaning.
I'm leaning that way because both pitchers are number 34. I mean, it's like, are they just trying to tell us what the game is right here or what? Because so.
And then tomorrow the Rockies play the Cubs. So we have a 30. Oh, tomorrow's a 35. No.
Chicago equals 35.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So if they win today, they can get number 35 against Chicago.
Fucking Rockies, though, man. This team. All right.
They were good for us for a nice streak there, but yeah, they've been a little bit shaky the last few days. The whole last week's been kind of shaky. Yesterday was okay, but yeah, both pitchers are number 34. I feel the pitcher jerseys have been pretty good. I think there's been 2 or 3 games since we started looking at it where it didn't come through, but the vast majority have. So
yeah, no, yeah, that makes sense. And I know it's all rigged, but this Huffman guy is and this guy,
right? He doesn't both. Yeah, exactly. You look at him and you're like, oh, it's hard to be confident in this guy, but
yeah, a lot of these guys, it might be stereotypical, but the movie Major League with Ricky Vaughn, they come in with their glasses and they're just atrocious.
Right. Yeah. So.
And all right, Zach.
All right. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Okay. So yeah, both pitchers are number 34 in this game, and if the Rockies win, both teams have a 34 in the win and loss column. But I think the Tigers are a decent risk-reward game today. The Indians are going for their 34th win on this 34 date. Indians equals 34. The Indians are 4-5 versus the Yankees this year. Caller?
Yeah, what's going on, Zach?
Hey, man.
On this game for the Mets, I just had a quick observation. The Mets play the Yankees next, and they can stay on them 33 losses. So I think that pitcher is trying to throw us off today.
Well, that's my one worry with that game is both teams staying on 33 in New York. It is possible.
And another thing, I just looked on pregame. Okay, so Colorado is plus like almost 200 plus 150. All the money's on Colorado, and it's only 11,000 on the Mets. So this is one of those games where all the money's on the underdog, and they got to pay it almost double back. So I've been using, like yesterday, I hit $1. You like with the caller and you, shoot, I hit $1 parlay to hit me for 130. So
awesome.
$1 hit me for 130. So
$1,
yeah.
You made 130 bucks on $1?
On $1 on the 8-teamer, yes sir.
Wow.
On the 8-teamer. So it with what you call, it was pretty much easy. I had the Orioles plus the run in there. It was pretty easy. But if you use that pregame too, it'll help you with the run line, because like Philly, I knew that game was gonna go under yesterday because I figured they'd pay Philly. You just gotta look at it, and you just gotta have a mind like Vegas. You know what I mean? I can't really explain it, but
no, I hear you.
The money's on Colorado today.
All right, I hear what you're saying. All right, so right now, yeah, 71% on Colorado's the number that's in. I see that.
Yeah, and that really reminds me of that. Remember that Chicago game when they was on a 9-game win streak? It was a little bit more favored. Yep, this is exactly the game that reminds me of. And it's crazy because we just get on the hot streak with the pitcher jerseys, and then they put out 234s. That's why I say I believe they do be fucking with you, Zach. I really be thinking they fucking with us today, man. Especially if they stay on this 33, and they play the Yankees next, so they can go into the Yankees with the 33, and New York. So it's like I'm thinking Mets win today.
Well, you make some good points. Though, just to play devil's advocate, the only thing I could see is if the Mets, or excuse me, if the, well, yeah, it does make some sense what you're saying. I'm just thinking if the Mets won 2 in the next series, they could get to 33 against New York, but going into the series on 33, I do hear you. So yeah, great point, man. Thank you.
Yep, no problem, man. Just keep up the good work, man. Keep up I know the finals been killing me, man.
Oh God, man!
I put a $300 fucking series bet when it was plus 100. So it's like now Golden State plus 500. But you did make a point when Cleveland was down. Them motherfuckers, you put 100, you win 1,300 on Cleveland, and now you only win 500 on Golden State. So maybe they gonna put some crazy stuff in it. But yeah, man, that finals kind of let me down. But the little dollar parlay I hit yesterday, man, I'm back at it, man. So I'm feeling kind of good.
Too bad it wasn't $10, but yeah, I'm glad you went on that. Nice.
Yep.
All right, man.
All right, I'll let you get back to it.
Yeah, have a good day. Okay, so he does make a good point. I just wanted to see how it was for Minnesota, Detroit. Only 10% of the money on Detroit. So Detroit's got a shot. Okay, Indians, again, they're going for that 34th win on the 34 date. Indians equals 34. I noticed Bieber, if he got the win, he'd be 17-7 for his career. He'd get those prime numbers, 17 the 7th prime. It's his 13th start. He can pick up his 6th win today. He could be 6-2. But again, I haven't seen the relationship yet with the prime number start and the win loss. But I just really only started looking at that this week. And again, when we go through these funky weeks, it just makes me start looking at more things. Is there something that I can get? Is there some golden nugget out there to help me get through the funky weeks? But both pitchers here are number 57 too, which is interesting. I couldn't draw any core. Well, I guess I didn't write out the number 57. Let me see if anything happens when I write out 57. 131, the 32nd prime. Well, the Indians could get their 32nd loss. I'm gonna go with the date numerology. I'm thinking the Indians get that 34 on the 34 date. So If Bieber wins, he's 6-2. The reflection at 2-6. The big Yankee number 26. All right, the Braves and the Marlins. Marlins can stay on 23 wins on this day of the 9th. Hey, what's up, caller? Caller? Hello? Caller, if you're there and you hear me, call back because I can't hear you. Call me back. Okay. Braves and Marlins. I'm thinking the Marlins can stay on 23 on the 9th. Again, I'm really thinking that 23 is going to play today. Let me see. Let me see. The one thing that worried me about the Braves, though, is just that this Fried guy, if he lost, he'd become 9-9 on the 9th. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna cool it on this game. Miami does equal 99 in the English extended cipher, and I know that this 99 does come through with Miami. So, caller.
Yeah, Zach, this Chris.
Hey, man.
Hey, these games is a little, man, tricky today, man, because there's a couple of sweeps and there's a couple of teams that can split the series today too. Okay. Like that Rockies and Mets game. I mean, the last caller got a point that the Mets could win, but man, I remember when LeBron was on the mound and the Mets was the favorite to win and they didn't win, man. So it ain't guaranteed that Senegal gonna win today.
Sure. I mean, there's a riddle there for the Colorado, but what he said is he just looked at the money and he's like, well, based on the money, I don't feel comfortable picking the Rockies today because everyone's going big on the Rockies because they're a nice payout.
Yeah. So you think the Diamondbacks might lose the last game today since they won the last two?
I don't think that. I think the Diamondbacks are going to win. But the warning I put out is just if you followed me all baseball season, I've gotten a lot of series right the first 2 games, and then I'll get the last one wrong because the pattern breaks. But there's been plenty that I've gotten right too, where we've gotten the whole series right. It's just there's something up with patterns breaking in the last game. But even that said, I still like the Diamondbacks today because it makes a lot of sense for the Blue Jays to get that 42nd loss. Arizona's 42, Diamondbacks is 42, plus the Diamondbacks can get the 34th win on the 34-date numerology. And I also like the Blue Jays staying on 23 wins on the 9th of the month because 23 is the 9th prime. So I do like the Diamondbacks. I'm just saying if they go down, we have to remember that for whatever reason, patterns seem to break a lot in the last game. But there's a lot lining up on both sides to still believe in the Diamondbacks today.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good pitches on today. I mean, the O's would be a nice payout today, but remember they don't have remember Kasich was on the mound yesterday and they won, but they got Bundy on the mound. Bundy is not that good.
Right. That's why I like the Orioles yesterday.
That's a risk.
Absolutely, it's a risk. Oh, absolutely, it's a risk. So.
Because I think because I don't know, because sometimes they went. I mean, the Orioles was the risk yesterday, but I don't think they're going. I don't see them beating the Astros because Milky is on the mound. He's 5-3, but
what stood out for me about the Astros today is they could pick up their 23rd loss and stay on 23 home wins on the 9th. That's what the Orioles have going today because that 23-9 thing really plays. Just like that's the same reason I liked the Orioles yesterday because the Astros became 23-9 at home. So.
I mean, and the Braves too, man. Remember last time we thought the Marlins was gonna win because they had Max, they had Scola on the mound, man. They got Fry on the mound today, so man, I don't know, man. I might don't go against the Braves today, man. They burned me last time. Oh, because we thought the upset.
Right, 2 games ago, we thought the Marlins had a good shot at the upset. Yesterday, I liked the Braves more, and today I do like the Braves more too. The only thing I'm worried about is Fried becoming 9-9 in Miami because that's a number that plays there. If he lost, he'd be 9-9 for his career. So I'm not crazy about that game. I wouldn't bet the Braves today because I worry about the 9-9, but I wouldn't bet the Marlins either because I do still believe they're going to lose. So
that Indians game, I like the Indians too because Beaver on the mound today. Because Chad Green not that good.
I like the Indians today too. Right. So
who else? Oh, I like the A's today, man. Because the reason why I like the A's today to get their 33rd win because the Rangers split. Rangers swept the 2 games yesterday. So I'm leaning towards the A's to split today.
Okay, I don't like that game today. If the A's lose, they pick up their 34th loss on the 34-date numerology. And if the A's lose, they become 5-4 against the Rangers on the 54-date numerology as well. So there's 2 date numerologies that go in favor of the Rangers. The one thing that could go against the Rangers is them staying on 34 wins on the 34 days. So I'm just not crazy about that game. But if you got a good gut feeling, just go with it.
Yeah, because the Rangers will get their 30th loss today. There's a chance.
Oh, the Rangers, the other thing for the Rangers today is they can get their 241st win, which is the 54th prime number on this 54 date. So I'm personally not feeling the, actually, let me make sure let me check something real quick about that. Wait a minute. Is it 241 or 251? Oh, no. I'm mistaken. 241 is the 53rd prime, 251. So they don't have that prime number relationship with the date. But there's just some red flags there for me on that game. So go with your guns. I'm just personally not crazy about that one. I'd refrain from that game.
And I like Strasburg to get the win today. Remember I said Sergio, that Sergio was on the mound and they beat the Padres yesterday, and then you got Strasburg on the mound today.
Well,
so that tells me that I got Nationals splitting between the Padres today.
So they'll go 2-2 if the Nationals win today.
Yeah, 2-2 split. That's why I say it's a couple of sweeps and there's a lot of splits that can happen. That's why I got Oakland winning today.
Okay. So I like the Nationals yesterday too. Scherzer had a good reason to win in San Diego, as we talked about. So if the Padres lose today, they're 33-33 in the season, which would make some sense because Nationals is 33 and San Diego Padres equals 137, which is the 33rd prime. So both teams have a 33 connection. But the one concern there is San Diego can get their 34th win on the 34 date. So I'm a little bit anxious about that one. But again, go with the guns, man. If you got a good gut feeling, I'm going to go over that game a little bit more. But just anytime I see a riddle that goes against a team, it just always makes me a little bit apprehensive. So
the only game I can see that I can see it as a good pick for a sweep is the Phillies to beat the Reds because Nolan on the mound.
I like the Phillies today, and I think the Diamondbacks have a good shot at the sweep too. Sweep equals 23. They'll keep the Blue Jays right on 23 wins if they do it. So
that Red Sox game, man. I mean, a lot of people like the Rays, man, but I can't deny that Red Sox got a good pitcher on the mound today. Got Rodriguez on the mound, so I'm leaning towards the Red Sox to split today.
Okay, I favor the Rays in that game personally, but go with the guns, man.
I mean, the Rays put up. I see why the Red Sox won the second game because the Rays put up a whole lot of points on them in the first doubleheader game. So that's how the second one ended 5-1. That's how the Red Sox won. So I'm guessing the Red Sox the split the season series between the two today.
Okay,
there's a possibility it could happen though.
So again, the Rays are one of these teams that can get a 23. They can get their 23rd away win on the 9th, and I really like 23-9 prime number relationship. That's one of my favorite things to call games on. So that's why I like the Rays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Phillies are going for the 23rd home win today. They're another 23 team, keeping the Blue Jays on 23 wins. They're another 23 game. If the Twins got upset today, they'd stay on 23 away wins. If the Marlins go down, who you like the Marlins to lose today. If the Marlins lose, they stay on 23. If the Astros get upset, they pick up their 23rd loss and stay on 23 home wins. So I'm following the 23s today in a lot of these games. And
but Zach, remember that day that baseball when it was weird and a lot of teams got upset and they it's like the upsets won that game the other night. And then the next following week they lose.
Right.
So it ain't. I mean, the upset looked good today, but it ain't guaranteed that might come through though.
Oh, you're right about that.
Risk.
There's no guarantees.
That's the risk.
There's no guarantees.
Like
you're right.
We gotta learn from the previous night to today because it might turn out different today.
Of course, you're right about that. You're right about that. I just know
that's
that.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying because a lot of people might. Because I had Twins yesterday and they didn't win because they was the heavy favorite. So today there's no way that the Twins could lose today. I just don't see it. They was the favorite yesterday, and the Tigers pulled off the upset. I don't see the Tigers beating them twice, though. I just don't see it.
Well, that's probably what a lot of people felt about that the Brewers-Marlins series too. The numbers aren't bad for the Tigers to win today. Just like yesterday, I said the Tigers were worth a shot because they had a decent riddle to win yesterday. So, it could happen, man. It could happen. The Tigers could pull out 2 against the Twins. We'll see.
Yeah, there's a watch and see. I mean, I'll probably put Fields, Nats, A's. What else good? Short pick. Indians. And I probably just put the Diamondbacks. And then that's 5-team parlay. So that should be good picks for today.
All right, man. Sounds like a strategy.
All right. Thanks, Zach.
Appreciate it. You have a good day. Good luck, man.
All right.
Okay. I just thought about something else with the Detroit game. If Odorizzi does lose, he's 8-3. Detroit, Michigan equals 83. 83, they're on the 83rd meridian. 83 is the 23rd prime. 23 is the 9th prime. Remember, it's been 83 years since the city won 3 championships, and that city was Detroit, Michigan. Caller?
Hey, for the Arizona-Toronto game there, the Blue Jays are on 41 losses. Their next series is against Baltimore, a big 41 team. Ooh. And also they have 42.
I'll give you another Baltimore number, though. Orioles is 42.
42.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was about to mention that Stroman, 2 days ago when he pitched, that 42 happened for him because he had 41 overall losses, so he got 42.
Right. Yep. That was one we looked at, right?
Yep. And then also, I'm not going to be on the live stream for tomorrow. I'm traveling. So I wanted to get this in for the Warriors game. The Raptors are 8-0 at home in overall in Game 5s. It's the best in NBA history.
8-0, okay. And what else it makes me think of is the one game the Warriors won. They hung around at 106 points for a long time at the end of the game. And that game's going to be on 10/6, so it's another 106. So I think there's something to that. That Warriors won that game in Toronto. And I'm thinking, does that mean that they're going to win this one as well on the 106 date and go back to 106 land Oakland for that last game in Oracle if it happens? So we'll look at that.
I like the 8. I like the 8. So I think the Warriors have a good shot to win this one.
Make them 8-1.
Yeah, I do. And then there's one more note that I'm going to add. Then I'll hang up here. Is so teams when leading 3-1 in NBA Finals, they're 33-1 all time.
Right. Cleveland was the 33rd team to be in that situation and come back. So this will be the 35th time this scenario happened.
Yes.
Okay. And Toronto's 35. Durant's number 35. So see when Durant comes back from his fake injury.
Do we have anything with a 3-3-2?
I'd have to think about that. I could think of the reflection of the number 233 is like 233, the 51st prime, the 13th Fibonacci. So.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to throw that out there. And I think Tigers got a good shot today, and I think Arizona's going to win.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right, Zach.
See you. Yesterday, we had the caller call in about we talked about this golf tournament that's going on in Ontario right now, just like the NBA Finals. One of the favorites was Lowry, and we thought, that's interesting. Lowry, just like the biggest bet on the Raptors is Lowry. What's up, caller?
Hey, brother Zach, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. How are you, man?
Good. I'm up in Plymouth, Massachusetts. I'm educating some of these Boston Bruin fans.
Okay.
Somebody coming out of the market, bro. Telling them about the 322. Showed them your website. People were fascinated, man. Good stuff.
Hey, if this does go back to Boston, if they get out of this game day, if this goes back to Boston and they win in Boston, they're going to be 8-5 in the playoffs. Boston's 85, National Football League's 85, Red Sox is 85. So if Boston wins today, I think they're going to come back and win it in Boston Game 7.
Yeah, I was telling them about that 322 riddle. Now, will Boston also have 322 playoff losses?
No, they picked up their 323rd. They picked up 323 last game.
The Bruins lost their 323rd game.
Yeah, they went one over that 3-2-2 mark with the losses.
Okay, but they will finish with 3-2-2. Okay.
If they win the series, they will. Yep.
Right. Beautiful. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Real quick, what is your best upset of the day? You like the Tigers, or who do you like on the upset?
Well, I think if you're going to take a stab at an upset today, Tigers got a narrative. And I think the Orioles also have a narrative as well today, just because they could give the Astros their 23rd loss on the 9th. But if you went on the Orioles yesterday, you might have played your luck there.
Right. Now, what about your best favorite team? Who looks like the favorite?
Well, I'm gonna ride this riddle with the Diamondbacks sweeping the Blue Jays. The Phillies and the Diamondbacks both look good to me today.
Gotcha.
So I like the Indians today too. Just games we've gone through so far. If you're just getting caught up, so
all right. So you like the Diamondbacks, the Indians, and who else?
Phillies.
Okay, it's an upset, maybe the Tigers, and maybe even Baltimore. I got it. So listen, I will call you tonight with that information on that itinerary.
Hey, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. I've been waiting for that call. I haven't gotten to another game too. I like the White Sox to lose today. They got some reasons to lose. So that's another game. And Giants have a decent shot to upset. I think Bumgarner's going to get his 114th career win against the team that was just in the 114th World Series today. So I haven't got to some of those games, but that's a field of games I like today.
All right. Well, I'll be heading out to Plymouth, Massachusetts after this wedding around 6 o'clock my time, 3 o'clock your time. So between 3 and 4, I'll give you a call, brother.
All right, man. You have a good day. Look forward to that. Thanks.
Ciao.
All right, bye.
Bye.
'Tis the season for weddings. All right. So I think we were on the. Where were we on the Braves Marlins game? Okay. Yeah, I favor the Braves here, but I just worry about this pitcher becoming 9-9 in Miami. That is definitely a number there in Miami land. And if you use the English extended cipher, which does have relevance with sports, Miami's 99. So seen it before. We had the Miami Miracle in the 99th NFL season over the 99 team, the Patriots. Yeah. So the Marlins can stay on 23 wins. I'm just not crazy about that game. Orioles and Astros, another risk-reward play. Again, just it's the 9th. I think the 23s are going to play. So the Astros, again, can get that 23rd loss and stay on 23 home wins. Bundy, if Bundy got the win, he'd be 4-6. Houston, Texas is 46. He could also stay at 34 career wins on a 34 date. He could also get his 38th career loss. Bundy, Astros is 38. So there's something. But again, yesterday was the same thing for what's his face. He could have become 3-8 versus the Astros yesterday. He didn't. He got the win. So caller.
Can you hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you got your video on in the background.
I did. Okay. Oh, so Odorizzi lifetime against the Tigers 4-1. So Tigers equals 42 as well.
If you use the rule on Ash, yes, it does.
Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that in real fast. About to go bet that one.
Okay, so you're digging the Tigers.
I am. They might lose, but fuck it. It's a great payout. And they got good numbers.
Yeah. All right, man. Appreciate that. Good tip.
All right, Zach.
All right, thanks. Okay, but Astros are not. So Astros and Tigers are the risk-reward games today. I mean, it could be the kind of bet where you just bet $5 on both of them, and it turns into, I don't know, what would it be, $30? So, that's the nice thing about this knowledge. You can make money with low money. Guy bet $1. He called in earlier. He bet $1 and he won $130. So now he's probably wishing he bet $10, but still, it's nice to turn $1 into $130. That pays for some groceries for the whole week. So Pirates and Brewers. Pirates can get that 34th loss on the 34 date. So far, this series has followed the date numerology. Pirates does equal 34. Let me see here. Brault's on 9 career wins on the 9th. Let's see. The Brewers win. They're 6-1 versus the Pirates this year. That's that baseball number. 61, the 18th prime. Oh, that's what I was overlooking. So if the Pirates lose today, they're 1-6, right? That actually makes sense. Pirates would be 1-6 versus Brewers with a loss. 53, the 16th prime. Milwaukee's 53. So that actually makes some sense right there. Okay. I was overlooking that 1-6 thing before. So if the Pirates lose, they're 1-6 versus the Brewers. And 34th loss on the 34-day. Problem is Milwaukee doesn't pay out a lot, but I'm pretty sure that's the way that one's going to go. So, okay, Lopez and Sparkman. I do like I like the White Sox to lose here. They pick up the 34th loss on the 34-day. Lopez gets his 23rd career loss on the 23-day. He could become 3-7 or 4-6 on the season. Chicago's 37-46, so that's a wash. But the Royals got number 57 on the mound, Sparkman, and with a win, they'd be 5-7 versus the White Sox this year. So I like that as well. And he can also the Royals can become 4-2 at home versus the White Sox with a win today, and White Sox equals 42. So it looks like it lines up on both sides for the pitchers. And the date numerology is there. So Kansas City's got a lot of things that are good indicators. So I like Kansas City today. It's hard to like Kansas City, right? But I like them today. And actually, we've done all right with Kansas City. They've been a team that usually when the Riddles are there, they do come through. The A's and the Rangers. I know somebody really liked the Athletics today because Montas is having a great season and he's facing this Smiley guy who's god-awful. Oakland's a monster favorite today. But I think the Rangers are not a bad play today based on how they'd pay out. And my thought on that is, again, if the A's lose today, they become 5-4 on the 54-date numerology, and the A's pick up 34th loss. So I'm not crazy about this game by any stretch of the imagination, just because, I mean, when you look at it like a good pitcher versus a lousy pitcher, just the logical part of the brain's still there, even though knowing it's rigged. I mean, you know, they'll script a guy to be the ace. I think sometimes and sometimes make a guy look worse than he actually is just because that's the script. But the one thing that could go against the Rangers today is staying on 34 wins on the 34-day. Actually, let me look at who both of these teams play next. Let me see. Rangers got the Red Sox next. Boston Red Sox is 53, the reflection of 35. Sure. Well, if the A's lost, they'd go into Boston on 32 wins. No, wait, no, never mind. That's the Rangers. Hold on. Okay, the Rangers play the Red Sox next. So if they won, they would be at 35. Boston Red Sox 53. Who do the A's play next? Athletics. They got Tampa Bay Rays. It's Tampa Bay. Well, Tampa Bay's 137, the 33rd prime. If they won today, they'd be 33-33. Games in Tampa. Their next away win's 15. Tampa Bay is also 47, the 15th prime. Yeah, I'm just not crazy about that game. Rangers would be a good payout, but there is a chance they stay on 34. That I forgot to say this. If Montas does win today, he becomes 8-2 and Rangers is 82. I was sleeping on that. That's right up there on the board. So Montas, if he was 8-2 against the Rangers, that would actually make a lot of sense. So yeah, A's aren't a good enough payout for the risk that's on the board, but Yeah, Rangers probably aren't worth the risk either. There'll be better games. All right, Mariners and Angels. Yesterday I talked about how these teams could split the final 2 games. That would make the Angels 5-8 versus the Mariners this year. Angels is 58. The Angels are 2-4 at home versus the Mariners. We do have this 34 date, so they could become 3-4 on the 34 date. You know what else I just thought about? There's actually 139 is the 34th prime. And remember, 139 is actually a big number with the Angels. What is it? Los Angeles, or I think Anaheim, California is 139. That's that. Los Angeles Angels. Or I don't know how to come there. I think you have to use the exceptions. It's the rules with the reduction cipher. Yeah, Los Angeles Angels is also 139. Montas became 13-9 against the Angels in his last start for his career, if you remember that. And I think Seattle, Washington has that 139 connection too. Yeah, it does. So actually, so becoming 3-4 could make some sense too. I was going to say if they fell to 2-5 at home, Mariners equals 97, like the 25th prime. If the Angels did win, they'd be 6-7 as well, like 67, the 19th prime, and Seattle's 19. So I got into a situation where I was thinking the Mariners might be the better call, but I just, again, I got to see the Mariners turn this slump around. They were great for us at the beginning of the year because they followed the riddles perfectly. Plus, we expected the Mariners to have a big season. But if the Mariners did win today, they would leave LA on 41 losses, and LA is 41. Let me see who they play next. Yeah, I can't advise picking the Mariners. Mariners got the Twins next. Think about that. 3-game series, and the A's again. Well, yeah, I think I would just let that one go. I don't think the Angels are a good pick today too either, just because there's a few things that could go against them, but it's just hard to believe in the Mariners right now. Dodgers and Giants, I think the Giants got a shot today. I like the Giants. They can pick up their 27th win on the 27 date, stay at 37 losses, Los Angeles 37. And Bumgarner's going for his 114th win. He's been going for this for a while. He has not been able to get it. And I've been saying, man, that 114th win's got to be a symbolic one for him because San Francisco Giants equals 114. And now here he is facing the team that just lost in the 114th World Series. If you can remember, they retired Barry Bonds' jersey last year by the numbers, and it was synced up with the 114th World Series. 73 days from the World Series, like how he hit those records, 73 home runs with the Giants. There must be something greater about 73 in the Bay Area, too, just like how the Warriors have that 73 win season. Curry born on the 73rd day of the year. But I do like the Giants today. I think they'll get to 27 wins on the 27 day, and Bumgarner will get his 114th win, staying at 88 losses against the Dodgers as well, the team that hasn't won the World Series since 88. So I'm digging that. Buehler can become 15-7 for his career, like 157, the 37th prime. Los Angeles is 37, just like how the Giants can stay on 37 losses. These teams are 4-4 against each other this year, so either team can become 5-4 on the 54 day. Can't go off that. The only thing that really worries me about the Giants, and again, we haven't seen any great consistent pattern throughout the season with the total count of home and away games and the prime number relationship. But if the Giants did lose today, they would stay at 11 home wins in their 31st home game. 31's the 11th prime. I'm digging the date numerology a lot more and staying on the 37 losses versus LA. Plus, I just don't know who would be better for Bumgarner to get his 114th win against unless the Giants play the Red Sox next. Let me just, I got the Padres, Brewers, Dodgers again. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're playing the Red Sox anytime soon. I don't even know what they play them this year. It's interleague play, but yeah, I'm taking the Giants today. So they're a good payout too. This Nationals Padres riddle's tough. We talked about why it could make a lot of sense for the Padres to go 33 and 33. Both teams have the 33 connection. The Padres have a shot to pick up their 34th win, though, on the 34 date, and it's tough. If the Padres did lose today, they would become 4-3 versus the Nationals. San Diego equals 43. They'd be 4-3. Perdomo, who's in, he has 27 career losses. He could stay on 27 career losses on this 27 date with a no decision or a win. Let me also look at who they play next. Padres. The Giants tomorrow. Giants. Yeah, I don't see a great clue there with the Giants. The Nationals. Nationals are at the White Sox, so they're traveling again. Well, if the Nationals won today, they would face Chicago still on 35 losses. Chicago's 35. So that's a possibility. If the Nationals win today, they stay on 35 to face Chicago tomorrow. And again, both teams do have that 33 connection. So I'll let you make a call there if you want to. Again, when riddles go both ways, I don't, it makes me uncomfortable, but yeah, that next game could be the clue. All right, Cardinals and Cubs. Cardinals are on Sunday Night Baseball again. 2 weeks ago, they were on Sunday Night Baseball, and they ruined my Sunday night. I should have never turned on the game. They were up 3-0 going into the ninth inning, and then they mismanaged the game purposefully and lost the game 4-3, that St. Louis number. The Cardinals had the perfect date numerology riddle location, and they blew it. And anyway, the Cardinals, they've been okay for us this year, but they've been a real ball breaker in some games, like where they had a great riddle and blew it, almost kind of like the Mariners. Remember, St. Louis is the only city that sums to 115 with the alphabetic order. You're the 115th World Series. What jumps out to me about this game is Wainwright can get his 91st loss. Chicago Cubs is 91 with the alphabetic order. Hendricks is on 37 career losses. If he did not lose today, he'd stay at 37 losses. Chicago's 37. He's 6-4 for the season. St. Louis equals 74. He could become 7-4 against St. Louis. The Cubs are 5-3 versus the Cardinals this year. This is the one thing that gives me a little bit of concern. If they lost, they'd be 5-4 on the 54 date. They're 5-0 at home this year. Haven't lost yet at home. The Cardinals are on 18 losses. ESPN's 18, like baseball. Like the word upset. I haven't seen the 18 riddles playing with baseball and the TV networks this year. They do play with basketball, that's for sure, especially college basketball. They're big in college basketball, but haven't seen that with the baseball. I'm just documenting it in case it does start showing up. The Cubs have a chance to stay on 27 losses on the 27 date, but they can also stay on 23 wins on the 9th. So that worries me about the Cubs. Cubs equals 9. Here they are playing on the 9th on ESPN. Cubs can pick up their 37th win tonight. Chicago's 37. They could also stay on 36, and Cardinals is 36. So, what was the 63 I saw a second ago? I know I saw a 63 up here. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. If the Cubs won, they'd be 6-3 versus the Cardinals this year. Cardinals is 63 as well. So one more thought. If the Cardinals lost their next 2 away games, they would stay at 11 away wins through 31 games, 31 the 11th prime. Yesterday, that riddle was actually decent, but still for the season, I'm still just waiting to see it come through more, see if it does become consistent. Yesterday, it was a decent clue. But this game just a little bit too back and forth. I do favor the Cubs, but I'm just not crazy about it. They're not a great payout today, and just those few things that could go against them, they make me not want to play that one. So in this early game, we got multiple early games. If the 23s prevail, you can maybe make a decision later about today's games with the later games with the 23s. But I am expecting the Rays to, it looks like the Rays have a good chance to get a run here early in the game. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. It's early in the game, but Phillies, let's see. So again, I'm feeling I favor the Rays here. I like the Phillies. I like the Diamondbacks. 34 on the mound for both of these guys, but there was a lot of money on the Rockies. Here, the Rockies are a good payout today. So the caller's like, yeah, I hear you on the Rockies, but just how much money's on them because they pay out so well. I'm just thinking Vegas isn't going to do it. So it looks like it stayed about that 71% on the Rockies, who are a good payout. It is a good observation. Tigers have a decent shot to upset today. Indians getting that 34. Indians equals 34 on the 34-date numerology. Braves and Marlins, I'm not thrilled about. Orioles, they can give that Astros team the 23rd loss on the 9th, 23 the 9th prime, keep them at 23 home wins. So Orioles could do it 2 days in a row. The guy who called in a couple days ago about how much money's been paid out to people betting Houston, this is where Vegas can get the money back in 2 days in a row with the Orioles beating the Astros. And that's kind of the way sports is. I mean, when I grew up as a kid, I'd always notice how the best teams in the league lost to the worst way too often. I'd be like, what's up with that? My dad would always say, it's because they just already, they're getting too cocky. They think they got the game in the bag, and then, the other team's playing for something. My dad believes sports are real. And I'd still be like, usually when you play, you're the worst team and you play the best team. It doesn't even matter if they don't try. You lose. That's why they're the best team. Anyone who grew up playing sports remembers what it's like to play against a better team. Like, they're a lot better than you. You didn't like to face them because that was the day you usually got humiliated. All right. Pirates are probably going to pick up that 34th loss today. That was from multiple angles. Again, Royals look good to me today. Give the White Sox the 34th loss. The pitcher riddles line up on both sides. Lopez can get his 23rd career loss today on the 9th. The A's-Rangers game, the riddles go back and forth. If Montas does win, he's 8-2 for the season. Rangers is 82, but I'm still not crazy about it. I'm just going to avoid Mariners games for a while. I do think Bumgarner can get his 114th win, and the Giants their 27th win on the 27 date. Nationals, Padres, I'm not crazy about that one either. And I'm going to lay off the Sunday night baseball too. I just think, yeah. So I'd work with that the group of games. There's some decent riddles out there today. Looks like Ray's got that run in. Okay. NHL Stanley Cup. Bruins at Blues. I've absolutely gotten my ass kicked in the Stanley Cup finals. I'm just getting my ass kicked in the NBA and NHL finals pretty much. Well, NBA hasn't been as bad, but the Stanley Cup definitely has. I guess I've been okay in the NBA now that I think about it, but the NHL has just wasted me. So, remember, the Bruins, they swept the last series, and every team that has swept has lost in the next round, and I keep saying that. And the other thing that's concerned me about the Bruins is in Stanley Cup finals, they're 6-12. So if they lost, they'd be 6-13. That prime number relationship, 13, the 6 prime. So I say if the Blues are going to win this series, they better win tonight. Because if they don't win tonight, I think they're in big trouble. This game goes back to Boston and Boston wins. Boston was in this same situation against Toronto, by the way. They were down in this same situation and they came back and won the series. They were down 3-2. That was their first series of the playoffs. So it'd be a mirror of the first series. But if Boston wins tonight and goes back to Boston and Boston wins at home in the next game, they'll be 8-5 at home in the playoffs, and 85 is the number that connects the whole thing. Red Sox 85, National Football League 85, and again, Boston's 85. So, and if the Bruins do win, Boston will be the first city in 83 years to win these 3 championships. The last was Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, Michigan's 83. It's on the 83rd meridian. Bruins equals 83. So, I mean, that is a really great riddle. It's just that the Bruins swept, and every team who swept has lost. And I've been saying the same thing over and over and over since this whole series began. If the Bruins do win 2 more, they get to 322 playoff wins. We were wondering if they might win the series in Game 6 and be 3-2-2 and 3-2-2. I wondered at one point if they could win it in Game 5 because that was 32 weeks and 2 days after the World Series started. If the Blues do lose tonight, I keep thinking they're going to get this 211th playoff loss because that's the 47th prime number, and St. Louis equals 47. Tonight's the last chance to get that in St. Louis for this season. So, that's one thing that jumps out. The Blues' next loss is 211, 47th prime. St. Louis, 47. 47 is the 15th prime. It's June 9th, 9 plus 6, 15. The Blues are 3-14 in the Stanley Cup Finals, and I should have brought this point up before the last game was played because I was looking at that if the Blues won, they could be 3-14, and it was pie. But I was like, I remember I was thinking last game that the Blues wouldn't win anymore, so they'd stay at 59 wins and 14 playoff wins because Blues is 59-14. And I don't think that was such a bad thought, but that got broken. The Blues are now at 60 wins and 15 playoff wins. So they did do this pie thing. They're 3-14 in Stanley Cup Finals. The Bruins right now are 36-55. For the playoffs, the Blues are 15-9. So again, you could have that 2-11, 47, 15 thing happen to the Blues today if they lose. Those are the prime number relationships. The Blues are 6-6 at home, and if they do win, Blues is 76. On the flip side, hockey is 67, and that's the 19th prime, and it is 2019. So if the Blues win it, they become 7-6 at home. Blues is 76. They're the champions. If they lose, there's some rhyme and reason to 6-7 as well. For the year, the Blues are 60, 37-9. So this will be their 107th game. Boston had 107 points in the regular season. They're 30, 21-2 at home. The problem with that is Boston equals 22 in the most pure cipher and 31. But notice if they lose 30-22, that's kind of like 3-2-2, isn't it? So that stands out. The Blues coach is 18-13 in the playoffs. His next win is number 19. His next loss is number 14. Blues is 14. Bruins is 43, the 14th prime. He's 15-9 with the Blues this year. His upcoming birthday is 197 days. The last time, what was the? Yeah, God, this number came up earlier. Stanley Cup Finals equals 197. So, what was it? There was somebody else this came up for not long ago, and it ended up being favorable. So if the Blues win it today, it's a fitting amount of days from his upcoming birthday. This is the Blues coach. The Blues goalie, he could pick up his 15th loss today. It is June 9th, 6 plus 9, 15. He's at 39 wins. St. Louis Blues 39. He's got this 33 thing going on. Today's his 33rd day of his age, the Blues goalie, and his last birthday was 333 days ago. Stanley does have the gematria of 33. The Blues right now are 56, 76, and 18 versus the Bruins. Next loss is 77. Boston has that 77 connection. They're on 76. That has the Blues connection. Should make the note here about Boston. Blues. Wait, no, we need this one right here. So the Blues are 33, 33, and 9 at home versus the Bruins. It's the 34 day, but the 34 can go either way, so that doesn't help us. The Blues are 3 and 10 in the playoffs versus the Bruins. 4 and 10. I don't really see the symbolism in 4 and 10. I do know all about 3-11 and 1-1-3 though. So for the Bruins, they're 14 and 8 in the playoffs. They're 7 and 3 away. If they win, they're 8 and 3. Again, it's been 83 years since the city won 3 championships. Bruins equals 83. But if they lose, they're 7 and 4, and St. Louis is 74. This is a typo. Okay, the Bruins are 63, 32, and 9 for the season. If they got their 64th win and the Blues became 3 and 11 in the playoffs, 311 is the 64th prime. It's kind of abstract. Bruins could get 64th win of season. It's also possible that that's the riddle. But that stands out. Again, 3-11, 64th prime. Bruins going for 64th win. Could make Blues 3 and 11 in the playoffs versus the Bruins. If the Bruins didn't win today, they'd stay at 27 wins on a 27-day. Date numerology has not been that great in the conference finals or the finals for the Stanley Cup. It's pretty much the reason I've done so bad, just because those riddles haven't been coming through. And staying on the numbers never a consistent one anyway, but just there's a lot of riddles with date numerology that have not come through in the conference finals. It's like the playoffs were great up until the conference finals. We were doing great with the NHL playoffs. If you took my advice, up until the conference finals, you did great. If you've been following me through the conference finals and the finals, you've done poorly. And apologies for that. We're not trying to do bad. It's just the indicators that we've used, they have not, they haven't been good. So the Boston coach, again, he's 14 and 8 right now. If he lost, he'd be 14 and 9, kind of like 149, the 35th prime. I don't exactly know how that number fits in here. If he won, he'd be 15 and 8, like 158, big Freemasonry number. His next win with Boston all time is 22. And if he won 2 more, he'd get to 23. 83 is the 23rd prime. And again, it's been 83 years since the city won 3 championships. So if he wins 2 more, he gets to 23. 83, 23rd prime. Bruins equals 83. It's been 83 years since the city won 3 championships. And again, that city was Detroit, Michigan, which equals 83, and they're on the 83rd meridian. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Zach?
What do you got going on? I know who you like to win. You like the Blues to close it out today.
No,
No?
Game 7 at Boston.
Oh, you think they're going to close it out there? Okay.
Say that again?
Okay, I know that you like the Blues to win, so I was thinking you would have them closing it out today.
No, but I do have the Raptors closing it out on Monday.
Okay.
Instead of Game 7. And Game 7 for St. Louis and Boston. And I'm going to explain to you why, but you got to call me when you get done. I don't want to put it over the airwaves.
Okay. All right.
Oh, and I I need your text me your email.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
That's what I've been meaning to ask you for I don't know how long, and I keep somehow forgetting.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
I'll text that to you.
All right.
All right, later, man. See you. Hold on. I think I just realized something I was sleeping on. I just noticed something that I didn't notice before. If Boston does win 2 in a row, they'll be 16-8 in the playoffs. And Boston Bruins equals 168. So he's been telling me that the Blues are going to win the series for a few days now, but and they could. I think they better win it today. If this goes back to Boston, man, the one thing that could go back against Boston is if it went back to Boston is if they lost, they'd become 7-6. And Blues is 76, but that 85 is the number that connects all 3 championships this year. So if Boston wins 2 in a row, they are 16-8 in the playoffs, and Boston Bruins is 168 right there with the alphabetic order. I was sleeping on that. So, if the Bruins goalie got another loss, he would have 39 career losses. St. Louis Blues is 39. And let's see here. Today's 91 days after the Bruins goalie's birthday. Stanley Cup Finals is 91. Oh, I'm realizing that Boston Bruins is 69 too, and that's today. Okay. Also, we had the point out that the World Championship for hockey, Finland beat Canada. The goalie for Boston's from Finland. The goalie for the Blues is from Canada. So could that be a foreshadowing that Boston beats, St. Louis, just because they got the goalies that represent those nations? That championship was May 26th, which means it was 14 days ago. An interesting number. Bruins is 43, the 14th prime, and Blues is 14. So let me see how the money is for this game before. It really does seem that in hockey, like when the money's one way, the outcome's the other. But I got to imagine they're not going to change who the series is fixed for. So the money's huge on Boston tonight, probably because they have a way bigger fan base. St. Louis has played poorly at home, and they've played better in the Stanley Cup, but throughout the playoffs, they were better on the road than at home. So I guess if I was going to make a bet, the bet I would make, if I was going to bet on this, I would parlay the Bruins to win the next 2 games. That's the risk I would take just because that would be the decent payout. But again, I really do worry about the Bruins winning because they swept last round. There's been that perfect pattern with sweeps and losing in this round. And losing in the next round, I mean. So, but now that I see that Boston Bruins 168 and how they can be 16-8 in the playoffs, I'm thinking maybe that's what's up. If they didn't win another game, they would stay at 14 versus the Blues. Blues is 14. Bruins is 43, the 14th prime. But, man, that 83-year riddle, it just – and again, remember, 53 is the number that connects it all. Stanley Cup equals 53. You got Boston Red Sox, which equals 53. Here, let me just put up the 4-base cipher so it doesn't look like we're using a million ciphers to prove this point. Boston Red Sox is 53. Los Angeles is 53. Patriots is 53. Stanley Cup is 53. And, of course, St. Louis, the old home of the Rams, who just lost to the Patriots. And then Bruins is 83. It's been 83 years since the city won 3 championships. So, caller.
Hey, what's going on, Zach?
Hey, man.
Did you end up seeing the story about the St. Louis Blues fan from the Make-A-Wish Foundation that came out on the 7th?
We've talked about it probably at least 20 times in the last couple weeks, yeah?
Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Well, just so you know, I mean, you haven't heard about it, so, but yeah. So she's been carrying around this sign that equals 114 and 147. And World Series equals 147. This whole riddle began with the 114th World Series. This Stanley Cup began on the 147th day of the year. And at one point, St. Louis was 1-14 in the Stanley Cup all time. And since then, they've won 2 more games.
Yeah, but I think you might be talking about a different story, because this story came out on the 7th about the little girl named Helen. Is that the same story you're talking about?
Oh, never mind. All right. This is a different story. I thought we were talking about the one girl that's the big... Is she a Blues fan too?
Yeah, so this just dropped the other day on June 7th, 67. It's about a little girl with a brain tumor, and she's, I believe, 18 years old. And the Make-A-Wish Foundation was able to get her a ticket for Game 6, which is a game tonight.
Okay.
So I just wanted to let you know about that story, to see if maybe that could give us some kind of clues. The only thing I really saw in that story with the 18, there's a connection between brain tumor and I think it's Game 6. They cross over one of the numbers. And let me see what else.
Are they just giving out the name Helen? I saw Helen in one of the stories just scanning here. They're not putting out her last name?
No, I didn't see the last name. I just saw the first name.
Helen.
And she's holding up a sign that says, it has the number 49 also 49 years since they last won it. And let's see.
Okay,
yeah,
Helen.
that was all I was able to see.
Helen equals 91, like Stanley Cup Finals. Also 19, like 2019. She's going to the game today.
And is there a 54 in there also? Did I see a 54 in there?
In the name Helen?
Yeah.
Hold on, maybe with the exceptions here. Let me see. Well, with the exceptions, her name's 55, 64.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this is what I saw. So 44. So if you write out 44, it equals 54.
Okay.
Which is today's date numerology.
Okay.
And there's also another connection also, but her sickness is brain tumor, and I know brain tumor had the 131. Yeah, brain tumor has the 131 connection.
131.
The championship.
Okay. 131, the 32nd prime. All right, this is her with the sign. St. Louis waited 49 years and got me here. Okay, and Blues does equal 49. It's been 49 years since they faced the Bruins in the Stanley Cup. Super Bowl 53 was the 49th of the modern era. Let me the other girl, the sign they showed her with was a perfect riddle with the series. So let's see if her sign says something. St. Louis, what was it? STL waited 49 years and got me here. Got me here. Okay, 281. 281 is the 60th prime. They're at 60 wins right now. I want to do this without the 49 because Derek made it so. Hold on.
And I also see that hockey does equal 67, and this story came out on June 7th.
And you could also write that date 7-6, and Blues is 76.
Okay. Yeah, you're right about that also.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, there has to be something with this story because the other story had already dropped a couple of weeks ago about what you were talking about, the other sick kid that they were kind of propping up. So I don't know why this story would just drop out of nowhere.
Yeah. It reminds me of the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Somewhere early in the season, it started with Carson Wentz and how he was helping that boy that was sick at some hospital. And that was a narrative all year, too. So, I think on tonight's game.
And hold up your line, But if I find anything else significant, I'll call you back. I just don't want to hold it.
All right, appreciate it, man. Great observation. Thank you.
All right.
Caller?
Yeah, Zach, this is Chris. I gotta give you a quick update. They say Kevin Durant is clear to practice.
Yeah, he'll probably be back for the next game.
Yeah, because they said hopeful that he might play Game 5. So that's an indication that the Warriors they're gonna come back and win the series, man.
Well, just remember that 1 year LeBron came back from 3-1. The Warriors
that's what
were.
I said. So a lot of people don't. I said, man, what makes you think if the Cavs came back from 3-1, what makes you think that the Warriors can't do it?
Exactly, and that's the way sports is. And that same year that the Cavs came back 3-1, that's the same year the Warriors came back from 3-1 in the conference finals when Kevin Durant was on the Thunder that year, and they came back against Kevin Durant 3-1. So yeah,
that's all I called for was to give the update on the Durant jump.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you, man.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, welcome. Okay, so look, don't take my advice on the Stanley Cup tonight. If there's anybody's advice who shouldn't be taken on the Stanley Cup, it's mine. I've been terrible. I think I've gotten 1, maybe 2 games right in this thing. So, but what I do believe, though, is that if this goes back to Boston, Boston's going to get it. So for the man who likes the Blues, I mean, well, I did see, though, that the Bruins win 2 in a row. They're 16-8 in the playoffs, and Boston Bruins is 168. I hadn't noticed that before we just did the live stream, so it does seem that the riddle makes a lot more sense just in terms of the greater narrative with the World Series and the Super Bowl and now the Stanley Cup. I mean, 83 years, it's just all there. But the one piece that still keeps hitting me is that every team who swept has lost in the next round. And if the Bruins lose, that pattern will be perfect through this year's playoffs. The other thing is the Bruins had 49 wins on the year. Blues equals 49. It is the rematch of the Stanley Cup from 49 years ago. So, I mean, maybe it is the Blues year. They've had quite the season. They started off in the gutter, and then they had the record comeback. No one even thought they were going to be a playoff team. So there's some people out there that stand to gain a fortune who bet on the Blues to win the Stanley Cup when they were down at the bottom of the league. I don't know how many people in the world would have made that bet, but I really do think if Boston wins tonight, they're going to come back and take it because, again, they'll be 8-5 in the playoffs. Boston with the alphabetic order 85, Red Sox, what it all began with, 85. National Football League is 85, and for another 85, Brady's also 85, Tom Brady. So Tom Brady's even born on August 3rd, now that I think about it, with this whole 83 thing. Just for kicks, I'm going to measure from Tom Brady's birthday. He is the biggest sports star in Boston. All right, let's see. Brady. Today's Tom Brady's 311th day of his age. Remember how I said how the Bruins could become 3-11 in the Stanley Cup? Isn't that weird? That is weird. And 311 is the 64th prime number, and the Bruins can get their 64th win today. God, should have looked at this a while ago. Huh. That is something else. When is Game 7? No way. So Game 7, wait a minute. So Game 7 is, it's 340, it's pi, but it's 313 days after his birthday, which is the 65th prime. And if Boston won in Game 7, they'd get their 65th win. That's crazy. Huh. I wish I'd been keeping track of this. I wonder how many games might have been synced up with Tom Brady so far. Oh, my God. Well, I'll tell you what, if Boston wins tonight, man, now I like him even more in Game 7. Caller?
Hey, Zach. So I just saw that St. Louis Blues slogan that they're pushing really hard, "Let's make history" for this year.
Uh-huh.
When you write that out, it equals 205, and today's leaves 205 days left in the year.
Okay.
And also that 65 is as well, you were just mentioning, the 65.
Let's make history. Yeah, you're right. Today does leave 205 days left in the year. Yeah.
Oh, man, this is tricky.
I'm
Shit.
Yeah, my personal opinion is, man, I wouldn't bet tonight's game. If it goes back to Boston, though, I think it's in the bag for Boston. So that's the way I feel right now.
I think they're really messing with us, Zach, because I've never seen it such a strong indication both ways over so many sports, over so many different sporting events, like with the NBA, with the Houston, the Golden State, the NHL, and even the other sports. Like it's going both ways so hard.
So here's something I thought about. Okay, so early in the playoffs, we locked into a riddle with the Sharks in Carolina. They were putting out all these articles about Sharks in Carolina, and both of those teams got eliminated in the conference championship. So there was definitely something to that. I started to think it was going to be Boston and San Jose because of the Joe Thornton riddle, but then Joe Thornton and the Sharks got eliminated. And then we were like, okay. Well, then we noticed right on the surface. I mean, it was there in the records. There's things that I know that I did a bad job of in the playoffs. Again, there's indicators in the team records where they finished. We already know that. So the Bruins finished at 49 wins. Well, if we knew hockey, I don't know hockey well, but if we knew hockey better, we might have said, oh shit, the Bruins played the Blues 49 years ago in the Stanley Cup, and Blues equals 49. Plus, that made it in light of the Stanley. Remember, I had the Celtics in the finals from the start of the season, is because we were ahead of time. So we were thinking this was going to be a year for Boston, and it has been a year for Boston. But I should have noticed that Stanley Cup equaled 53, which would have connected the World Series and the Super Bowl. And then we could have been like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. Super Bowl 53 was the 49th of the modern era. So it makes sense that this is the championship. The riddle was there all this time. The Blues finished with 99 points, just like how it was the 99th NFL season, and how the World Series conclusion to the Super Bowl was 99 days. So, I mean, all the clues were there. And at least I picked up on them too late. A guy did notice at the start of the conference finals that if it was Bruins and Blues, that would be like the Super Bowl, St. Louis and Boston, because the Rams were in it. But so, I mean, it's been there, but you're right. I mean, I think that they are screwing with us too. A lot of these articles and stories that they throw out, because there's certain things that have been reliable indicators 3 and 4 years ago that now there seems to be a plethora of those types of news stories. And a lot of them are just lead you to dead ends. So
that was one key thing that I identified, following you for a little bit. I noticed that that definitely has changed, you know what I mean, with the mainstream. It seems like there's like an influx of just stories that are not going to help us at all. They're just there to just set us along the wrong way.
Sure, but there were some good ones. Like it really helped us out with the Colorado, that Colorado series. Remember with the Vaughn, the shark off the hook?
Yes. Yeah,
so
that was great riddle right there. Yeah.
So, I mean, they're still putting out ones that are helpful, but like right now with all this children's stuff, like if the Blues don't win tonight, that's going to be like, well, okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's why sometimes I'm a little hesitant to call in with like a story that you might not have seen, because I don't want to put us on a separate track. You know what I mean? I don't want to derail us from where we already might be going. So I kind of like think about it a minute or two before I even call you with this story. But I know it's hard to follow everything. So that's why if there's something that I think might help, I plug it in.
Sure. And okay, and just to make another point, I remember last year, okay, so 2 years ago, there was a clear riddle with Meek Mill, the Philadelphia rapper, in the Eagles Super Bowl. So then what do they do the next season? Then Meek Mill has another album come out called Championships that was perfectly synced with the Super Bowl. And a lot of people are starting to think, uh-oh, looks like the Eagles are going to go there again. I was like, well, man, that was the riddle last year, but that's not what we're thinking this year. So, yeah, they're definitely, I agree that they're messing with us. It does make things harder, but I still think it's good to observe everything and look at it, and we're just going to have to wait knowing what we know. So, It's like yeah, man. I appreciate the call and observation.
Good call with that Belmont yesterday too. I mean, you definitely put that horse at the top of the list. So
it
that
took
was a good call yesterday.
It took the whole. We had to pay attention the whole time to do it. But I just from now on, I mean, I'm wondering if horse racing takes a lot of time, but for people who are out there who are into the gambling and this knowledge, man, if you want to sit there on these track days and just track it, I have a feeling that there's probably a lot of money to be made with horse racing if you just pay attention and do the riddles. Because I mean, it was a day full of riddles yesterday, and
yeah, I think you kind of got onto something yesterday, Zach, with the way that you approached that race and following all the races leading up to it. I think that was a great indicator for like things moving forward. It takes a lot of time, but that was really the turning stone for me. That was what made me jump on, just the fact that you're winning so hard and then finding out all the stuff with the races leading up to the 11th race of the day.
Right.
Indicator.
Yeah, so I know I have to do that. That means I got to work extra hard from now on when we do horse races, because it has to be done this way. That's obviously how they're doing it. And I wish I could go back in years past and look at how it all synced up with some of these races. We've done well with horse racing overall, period, but I've never done it thorough like that. And I bet you we've missed a lot of awesome riddles over the years by not paying attention to it that way. So,
yeah. And also, if I could just say one thing for the community, just so people could kind of understand what this whole thing is about. Zach is just here to advise you. It's just basically additional information. It's on the person who's in this community to pay attention to numbers that might mean something, to know what you're looking at, and you have to add your own additional information on top of what Zach is giving you. You can't just rely on him to give you 100% win. That's unrealistic. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, you're right on, man. I'm trying to teach people. I mean, every day is supposed to be about education and learning from rights and wrongs and just, building as we go. And it does seem that because we've been doing this for about 5 years now, they're definitely onto us and they're throwing us some puzzles that are meant to screw us up. So, yeah.
Exactly. Well, I just wanted to say, continue doing what you're doing, Zach, and good job yesterday.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Take care.
And keyword was yesterday, because a few days before that, it wasn't such a good job. But that happens, man. Sometimes just things go amiss for a few days. So, or even 2 weeks. It happened to us in the NBA season. It happened to us this MLB season. There was just days and periods of times where the riddles did not come through. So yeah, with this Stanley Cup, man, I personally would not bet today. But if this goes back to Boston, I like Boston. Hey, what's up?
Hey, so I don't know if I just got back in, but so if the Bruins win tonight, Game 7's 3-13. The score of the Super Bowl was 13-3, no?
Man. Oh, my God. Dude, it's just crazy. Yeah, exactly. And it's 313 days after Brady's birthday.
Yes. So, I think the best way to do this, to be honest with you, if you're gambling, is just take Boston for the series. Don't bet tonight because they're -105.
Well, what pays more, to take them for the series or to parlay them to win this game and the next game?
If you're allowed to bet overnight, if they're going to do it, but you get 2.5 to 1 odds for the series, so it's better to go that route.
Yeah. And I got to say it's a risk, man, because the Blues do have a narrative. But I say if the Blues don't close it out tonight, they're done for. That's the way it looks to me.
Exactly, because if you're going to risk 105, I think that's the line to win 100. You might have to risk 100 to win 250, because if the Bruins do win tonight, they're not losing Game 7. They're going to win.
I should have looked at Brady a lot longer ago, but I guess better late than never. So.
Yep. And right now, Twins winning 3-1 Tigers early, but we'll see what happens.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Good work.
All right, exactly.
See you. Okie dokie. I'm going to make this note here about Brady. Today is Brady's 311th day of his age. God, you know what that means? Wait, no. No. Okay. All right. So today's Brady's 311th day. Let me write Tom Brady. People might not know what I'm talking about. 311, the 64th prime. What's up, man?
Hey, I want to second what the guy called in and said. Might have been the second to last guy about what you do. I want all your followers to know it's just you. You know what I'm saying? And like I told you, I do, you know, the same thing, and you enlighten me on some stuff, and it's just me. I don't have a team of people. You know what I'm saying? The difference between us and Vegas is that they got a team of guys outside of Vegas all over the world doing this stuff every day, 24 hours a day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So Zach is just there, like the man said, to advise, put out the information, and y'all got to do y'all homework and research. You know what I'm saying? This man ain't got all the answers. You know, so, you know, he's just disseminating the information. It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? And you're doing a good job, man. Ain't nobody 100% right. Ain't nobody perfect. You know what I'm saying? As long as your winning percentage is above, damn it, 51, 52%, you know what I mean? You're getting a return on your investment. It's simple as that. You know what I mean? A legendary handicapper that taught me what I know, you know, he, man, dude taught me so much, but it's like you don't you really, I mean, I understand what y'all do with baseball and how y'all take chances with parlays, but you're not supposed to really parlay. You know what I'm saying? Take 10 games, bet the 10 games individually. Yeah, I mean, if you get more than half your games right, then you get some money back. It's simple as that. Now, I understand, yeah, you want to take $1, $5, $10, whatever, on a parlay, you could do that too. But the cardinal rule, as it was told to me, is that you don't parlay. You know what I'm saying? You just want to come out with a winning percentage. That's how you beat Vegas in the long run. If y'all want to know how to beat Vegas, that's how you do it. Individual games. Bet the games across the board. You know what I mean? And just come out with more than half, you're going to get a return on your money.
Sure. Well, that's exactly a strategy. Some guys just aren't comfortable laying out a lot of money. I mean, if there's 9 games you like and you want to lay 100 on each, you know, some guys just don't want to put down the money like that. But if you do that every day, you're definitely going to be up. And I mean, lifetime, my winning percentage is around, I'd say around 2/3. But we've gotten so many futures right. I don't think anybody's ever called more futures than I have. And I mean, I've done that across the board. So that's where this knowledge is best, is getting the futures and figuring out things months in advance so you can get those big payouts. But with regards to parlays, if you're going to do parlays, I mean, there's some games with this knowledge you can get like some real good reads. Like, for example, a guy turned $1 into $130 yesterday, and he's not the first guy to do that here. Several people have done that. So that's the nice thing about this knowledge. I mean, so you can win with the parlays if you're good with this. But, yeah, if you just do parlays every day, it is trickier because, again, it's about 2 out of 3. So if you have a 3-game parlay, there's a high probability that it's going to get busted up by one of those 3 games.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, just, you know, keep doing what you're doing, man. Like I said, I just wanted to say, when I heard dude, you know, call in and say that a few minutes after I called, I'm like, I got to call back.
So, hey, what I just showed you about Tom Brady in 313 days to Game 7, are you still thinking the Blues are really going to win this in Game 7 if it goes there?
I already told you, Zach.
All right.
Both has to happen for what's about to happen in football this year. Both has to happen. If it don't, I'll put it like this. Now, this I will tell you. If the Boston Bruins and the Golden State Warriors, or just the Golden State Warriors, if they three-peat, all y'all better put y'all money on the Boston, New England Patriots to win the Super Bowl next year. It's as simple as that. But the reason why I told Zach what I told him is because I believe all of this is coming to an end. You just got to find out why. I know why. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said call me after you get done.
So something about that thought, about the dynasties being done is the Patriots won at the start of this year, right? But on the old calendar, the Julian calendar, the year starts in March. So we could be in a new year in the old world way of keeping time. And maybe that's why this year these dynasty teams runs would come to an end. So I was thinking about what you said there. So that is interesting.
Mm-hmm. And we could diagram that too. You know what I'm saying? Because I haven't. I just know. I know I know how to. I know when I see it. It's hard to describe. And I really don't want to. Like your man called yesterday about the horses. I tried to call you too. He was like, "Yeah, I got too many players against me." That was funny. But yeah, you telling the truth. You can't tell it all. You know. I'll show you. Just call me when you get done. Make sure you send me your email too.
I'll text that to you as soon as I'm done. So we're about to wrap it up, and then I'm going to make the review video, and then I'll send you the text and give you a call.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thanks, man.
No problem.
See you. Okay. But, yeah, this Tom Brady thing is crazy. You know, 313 days after his birthday is Game 7. The score of the Super Bowl was 3-13. 313 is the 65th prime, and if the Bruins win it that day, they'll win it with their 65th win. So I should have thought about that earlier, but he is the central man in Boston there in the world of sports. So I think we're good. I'm going to put up the review video for today's games. I know a lot of the afternoon games are about ready to go, so I better hurry up and get that out. Be back tomorrow, same time. We're going 7 days a week. I might just go 7 days a week forever. We'll see. I said I'd do it through the playoffs, but there's just so much stuff to cover. So, and I honestly, I don't mind doing it. I don't like having bad days, but as long as there's not some reason that I absolutely have to take a day off, I think we'll just go 7 days a week from here on out. So, all right, we'll leave it there. Be back tomorrow. Until next time, Truth Seeker.